Nightwing is a gifted acrobat who uses rapid combos and the Escrima Sticks to defeat his enemies and support his allies. He's a pretty boy and the pack leader, and he's everything you could want in a man, I guess. I don't know, I didn't really have a hook for this video. Anyway, let's talk about Richard Grayson. Let's go.
What the Richard?
Let me know in the comments if there's anything else you would like to see from Gotham Knights. Now, let's talk about must-have skills. So, Nightwing is that gifted acrobat, and he uses those sticks to, like, bash people around. He also acts as, like, the group leader with an entire skill tree focused on buffing his allies. Now, if you're like me and have no friends, well, that's not. I have one friend that was playing Gotham Knights, and then he went away and left me on my own. So, can you tell I'm not salty? I'm definitely not salty. Anyway, my must-have perks for Nightwing for a solo player like myself, you want to pick up Trampoline and then go into Aerial Bounce. Now, this will allow you to bounce off enemies, and you can use this to initiate combat to knock some enemies down, as well as like an escape. So I often use it to bounce around some enemies, and if I'm like getting overwhelmed, I'll like grapple above them and then jump back down, aerial attack, like knock some enemies down, kind of spread them out, do that kind of thing, and just to help break up the combat a little bit, because it can be hard as Nightwing as a solo player. You don't have a whole lot of tools to your disposal. You can also grab Aerial Damage Plus to increase your Nightwing's damage even that little bit further. The only other like must-have skill that I would absolutely recommend picking up for Nightwing as a solo player is Triple Darts. Now, this will mean that your just a normal ranged attack will shoot 3 darts rather than 1, and 3 is a bigger number than 1, so 3 darts does more damage. But also, it actually makes his ranged attack worth using, especially if you put like an elemental attack on there, because it will really do good elemental build-up because you're shooting 3 darts rather than 1. Without it, his range damage is very low and not really worth it, so it's worth picking that up in the Knighthood line like as soon as you possibly can. So let's talk about general build stuff. Now, depending on your solo or co-op, this will change. If you are a co-op player, you basically would want to more or less ignore the things in the second line, the acrobat line, because evade chain and all of those are really not that good. So I would ignore them and just put everything into pack leader, especially those dart skills down the bottom, because they'll really benefit you if you're playing in co-op, especially when that 4-player co-op comes out. Like, I can definitely see Nightwing really succeeding there. But as a solo player, really your main focus is just knocking things out with your sticks and using those momentum abilities. So what we're going to do is go into the acrobat line and grab at least those first couple, the extra momentum bar to give you an extra momentum bar, and the gain plus to give you extra momentum gain by 15%. Now, you can go further and go into evade chain and the evade chain momentum, that kind of thing. And I have done that and tinkered with it a little bit, but like, I honestly don't know where the value comes from evade chain. Like, it's costing you a lot of action points, and it really just allows you to chain your jumps together, which you can kind of do anyway. It just gives you a different animation. I don't really see that being super powerful. It just means that you can be a tricky boy and like jump around, but it's fine, but it's not really what I would want to focus on. I would really be putting my points into the Raptor line just to give you that extra bit of damage once you've got those momentum skills, because Nightwing really struggles with damage on his own. Like, he's not very powerful in terms of melee damage or range damage. He is that group leader, so playing him by yourself, you do struggle with some of that. But really, you just want to focus on those skills, like the aerial attack bounce that you can do, and using that to kind of weave yourself in and out of combat. It's a great way to build up your momentum too without taking too much damage, because you can avoid a lot of those attacks because you're like in the air and jumping down on enemies and then jump down again and jump down again. You get that momentum build up, so you can use those momentum attacks, as that's mostly where like a lot of your power plays will come from as a Nightwing player, is those momentum abilities. And we'll talk about those right now. So for your momentum abilities, we'll start out with Elemental Shockwave, and now this will do like a shockwave right in front of you, and it's a decent damage dealer. It only costs 1 momentum point, which is really valuable. You put an elemental attack on this, does that elemental damage as well. Mostly it will trigger that effect if you do have it, so absolutely worth having. And I'm also a really big fan of Whirlwind, which will just spin you around. You like break dance and your sticks will like wave around you. Again, put an elemental effect on this, it'll be super valuable and do heaps of damage. Those are the 2 main ones that I would tinker with or use. There are a couple of others that are based around the ranged attacks, but I've never found them to be super valuable. It's really that AoE you can get from the shockwave, as he is mostly single target, just knocking people with the sticks. That really helps. And Whirlwind. Now, for your ultimate as Nightwing, Nest will create a nest, like a aura around you and your allies, granting a defense bonus and healing over time. It also inflicts damage over time to enemies inside it. Now, this is a pretty poor ultimate as a whole, because just the flow of combat will take you outside of the ultimate. It's just the way it goes, and enemies don't really stand in there. Everyone just kind of, you know, circles around wherever you are, and just as the flow and the big open spaces that you fight in, you just won't be inside it very much. So it does have value if you're like needing health or that extra little bit of defense just to help you in certain situations. It does have that little bit of value, but you just, because of the space that it requires you to stay in, it just loses a lot of its just overall value, and you really want to stick with the elemental shockwave and the whirlwind for the most part. That is all 4 knights done with their best skills and general setups to help you get into Gotham Knights. Make sure you go and watch the other videos in this series to help you with the other knights. Thank you for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.